Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of Jay's Latest. I am your host, Craig Borden, and we're going to just dive into hitting a home run right off the bat today before the game. We have great news that Vlad Jr., with all the rumors that have been swirling around and everything, he is 100% going to be a Blue Jay for life outside of some crazy trade that's later in his career, this thing or that thing. But Vlad Jr. this morning in the late hours of the evening apparently signed a 14-year, $500 million extension. So we're going to get Vlad for, like I said, the rest of his career at this point, unless something changes really far down the line. But this signals the Blue Jays are not ready to tear this thing apart yet and not ready for a teardown and all sorts of good things. But let's just talk the dollars first before we get too far on things. So this is going to jump his average salary after his latest arbitration that was just shy of 30 million at $28.5 million to 35, almost $36 million a year. So that is the hike, like I mentioned, for the next 14 seasons. Starting in 2026, Vlad Jr. will be making just under $36 million a year. And to that point, I don't see this being a problem as far as the Blue Jays pocketbook is concerned, because now you have a guy that is going to be basically the poster child of this franchise for the foreseeable future. The dollars are going to be there. Vlad Jr.'s hitting prowess, his defense will be 100% a reason that Blue Jays fans put their asses in the seats all day, every day. So there's a win there. It is awesome that we get to see Vlad Jr. enjoy the kind of baseball that he plays all day, every day as a Toronto Blue Jay for his career. These things don't happen. So let's wrap your head around that one for a little bit. Players get traded, players get moved. Free agency is what free agency is. You do not see the Cal Ripkens, the Tony Gwynns that play their whole career with a single team anymore. I'm not saying that there's going to be a perfect match made in heaven thing here with Vlad later in the years of these career deal parts and whatnot, but it makes me very, very excited that we get to enjoy the prime that this 26-year-old monster has done for this team going forward. And we're going to talk some more about what this could mean for the Blue Jays after we get through this. So you ask, is he worth $36 million? Right now, it's kind of hard to tell that looking at what he's done so far this season, but we know what Vlad can do. This is a gentleman that in, how many years has it been? uh, 7 seasons going in this, including this year. He's got a 21.6 career WAR, which puts him in some very, very wonderful company as far as if you were going to compare him to people in Major League Baseball over the years period. This is a thing that I love diving into as far as career WAR and things like that go. It's how does he look amongst his peers? So let me just wrap this one around here. Similar batters through their age 25 season to Vlad Jr. The first biggest comp on that list is apparently the Hall of Famer Eddie Murphy, according to Baseball Reference. Solid. And then you go down the list. Tony Conigliaro, awesome. Had one of the best peaks in a Major League Baseball career you can have, and unfortunately, couldn't see as much anymore after he got popped. Prince Fielder, we loved Prince Fielder. Similar in mold of player, too, as far as how much fun that gentleman had on the field. And then the rest of this list is including guys like Freddie Freeman, Jose Canseco, Bryce Harper, Justin Upton, Ruben Sierra, and Juan Gonzalez, as far as considering the WAR thing through as many games that they played to the age of 25. And I think that is very crazy that he's mentioned amongst those people. But this is a guy that's already got 4 career All-Star games. He's won Silver Slugger Awards, Hank Aaron Award. He's the Home Run Derby champion. He was the home run champion one year, too, with 48 home runs. And in 2021, he led basically every category in offense except for RBIs, on base percentage, slugging percentage, games played in 20 and 21. So there's so many good things here. And if you look at the career that he has put together, he is currently the 19th active leader with a .498 slugging percentage. That's all players currently playing that have a career of X many games. He's in the top 20. So there is plenty of reasons to see here that Vlad is overwhelmingly deserving this kind of money. Not to mention there's that Gold Glove award. Just throw that one in there. That's the one that everybody seems to forget on why, quote unquote, he shouldn't get a payday. So, what does this mean? So, the first thing I want to talk about is what does the plan look like for the future here as the Toronto Blue Jays GM's concerned? So, I'm not ready to say that Atkins should be staying. I am 100% for the ulterior of that, actually. This is the first time that this is something the fans wanted that we actually legit got. And I do not see this redeeming him for another year, personally. The only thing that redeems him in any fashion is finally getting a game that wins in the playoffs and hopefully World Series champion. That's still the only bar that, in my opinion, redeems Atkins and Shapiro's regime at the moment. This is not enough. And it's, to me, more or less, it's just because this is not enough because it should have been done a long time ago. This wasn't wait until the season's already started. It wasn't this spring. It wasn't last spring. It was, this is your guy. Vlad is your guy. You should have made sure he was locked up. Look at what all these other teams are doing. And Jackson Merrill being the most recent one to be locked up young by a team. And it's the same thing with Bo Bichette. It's all these other pieces. It's like, great. You finally did it. We've been begging you to do it. So I'm not about to let me get off my high horse yet and say, yeah, good job. Let's go with this team. So there's a lot of work to be done. This beautiful thing about this being finally done for the GMs and the management office and everything like this of the Toronto Blue Jays is now we don't have to talk about this anymore. It's done. You don't need to see people fake posting pictures with Vladdy Jr. in a Mets uniform or the quote from my one of my best friends and Liz McGuire on Jaybird Watching, my co-host, putting up the thing that was the green monster covered with Bienvenido to Vlad Jr. to come sign with the Red Sox, and it shows him in a Red Sox uniform. It's gone. You don't have to see it anymore. Vlad Jr. is a Blue Jay, period. And we all know that now for 14 years. So he's going to be 40. That's the one ding against this whole thing because at least he plays first base. He could have a very similar career mold of, what Albert Pujols had at the end of his career. And if he has 700 home runs or damn near close to that up to that point, I'm probably going to be strangely okay with it. Just saying. So the other beautiful part to this whole wonderful scheme in this whole thing is we can recruit somebody finally. With Vlad locked up for that many years, it signals to the Major League Baseball players this is not to be screwed around with. This is a team that has got their guy. We have our face of the franchise. We are going to try and win with Vlad Jr. So maybe you should come up north, join the ball club, and have a good time with us, is what this signals to the Major League Baseball Players Association. And hopefully, it also shows the Major League Baseball agents. I'm looking at you, Scott Boras, that, hey, Blue Jays can play with these big contracts. This is one of the biggest extensions for average annual value. Wow. That you can think of right now. So really, really cool stuff that the Blue Jays are at the center of this whole thing. And we get to keep, like I said, our guy. So this beautifully sums up the fact that the Blue Jays can recruit. There might actually be a plan in place. I guess that part's yet to be proven. We'll find out here in the coming days. Because I would hope that this is the beginning of it. I'm not saying that they're going to come running out and sign Bo Bichette, but that's the last part we're going to talk about here is what does this signing now do to the trickle down effect? So the Blue Jays obviously are going to jack up the amount of money that they're paying Vlad Jr. After this season, there's some big contracts coming off of the books with Bassett and others. So push the chips in and try to win this damn thing. If you don't, some of those guys might be going. Maybe they get re-signed a little bit cheaper. Who knows? Because we're getting the best out of Chris Bassett right now. Does that mean we're going to be getting that the whole season? I hope so. But to that point, they also spent $12 million on Max Scherzer this offseason, and we won't have to pay about if he doesn't end up pitching well. So that's basically the money to pay for Vlad right there, at least for on top of what he was making this current 2025 season. So this didn't restrict them going forward. That was the beautiful thing. So, do you turn around and try to sign Bo Bichette right now, or do you try and pivot to the point that you move Andres Jimenez to shortstop and you know, just play with the pieces like that? But at the end of the day, this was we're seeing, excuse me, the best of Bo Bichette again. It looks like being the one big hitter at this team at the moment, who's going to be looking for a payday, who just got his arbitration hearing as an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. He is currently making $17.5 million. So there's going to be some kind of a payday there for Bo Bichette if he ends up being Bo Bichette, like we've been knowing him for his whole tenure as a Toronto Blue Jay. So we shall see. But I do think that this hopefully opens up the rest of it for, hey, the big one's down. We got him. He's staying. So Vlad Jr.'s here, and we'll see what happens next. But all things first, Blue Jays fans, hopefully they pull the tarp off so we can play the damn game tonight. We shall see. All things good. Let's go, Blue Jays. Woo woo.